Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed my other videos for ModX. My quick overview, my tutorial, my sample gameplay video where my son and I played a full game of ModX. Now before we go anywhere, I need to give a quick caveat about this. I have always been a huge abstract strategy game junkie. It's where I got my gaming start between Abstracts and Games Workshop in their early to mid, well, pretty much the mid 80s. That's where I got my board gaming start on. I was a huge chess player, loved to play chess, and I've always grown up and had a strong love for abstract games. So it should come as no surprise that I had a heck of a lot of fun with ModX. It's pretty much no-brainer. There's very few times that a good abstract strategy game is going to fail to grab my attention, because if a game is good and it's a good abstract, I'm going to love it. I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. And it's also kind of nice to say that my oldest son is also a huge junkie when it comes to abstract games, so we love playing abstract strategy games together. But let's ignore that fact for a minute and just look at ModX itself as an abstract strategy game. ModX is a really good, really well designed abstract strategy game. There's no problems I could find with the game. The game plays very well. It plays very quickly and does offer multiple ways to play the game. It also has different mechanics built in the game that can prevent the game from dragging on and on and on, which is something that can happen with some of the abstract games that don't have a different victory condition, where you're basically looking for one victory condition only. So anytime you have an abstract strategy game that offers multiple avenues to victory, it's going to be a boon to the game, because it's going to give multiple ways for your brain to think, for you to think about different ways that you're trying to win, and also different avenues you're trying to cut your opponent off from to prevent them from winning against you. But it's also going to have built-in mechanics that can prevent the game from dragging on. So anytime you have an abstract game that only has one victory condition, it makes it very easy to pay attention to that, and you can only pay attention to that one thing, and the whole game is going to hinge on the one victory condition. Again, that can cause the game to drag on quite a bit. But anytime you start adding in different ways for the game to come to an end, different victory conditions, and making those legitimate victory conditions, you're going to make the abstract game much better. And that's what we have in the case here of ModX. In ModX, there's one basic way to win the game: by scoring the most amount of victory points that's going to bring the game to an end. Whether it's a two-player game, you're scoring up to 15 victory points, or a four-player game where you're scoring up to 10 victory points. It doesn't matter. As soon as one player gets those victory points, the game's going to come to an end. That's your basic victory condition. You also have an alternate victory condition where if the players are very good at head-to-head competition and they're able to stalemate each other very well, there's going to be a secondary victory condition bringing the game to an early end, again preventing the game from stagnating. And that's where if one player manages to get their last tile on the board, or if they can't place another X on the board because they're completely out of X's, that's also going to bring the game to an end, but it's also going to bring it to a satisfying conclusion, because you're going to add up the victory points and still see who actually had total domination over the board. Again, a second victory condition, one that actually makes the game and stops it from overstaying its welcome, because you have something that prevents the game from stalemating on you, which is always a bonus. But on top of that, they offer one more victory condition where you really have to be watching your opponents. And when you play this game a couple times and start looking at the big overall picture of the strategy, you can start seeing that's actually a very legitimate strategy. You'll actually start seeing, and I've done this a few times playing this game, as I've actually completely ignored my victory points because I've either seen that I was behind or I just wanted to play for a different strategy. But I was playing out my pieces in a way that allowed me to bounce these wildcard pieces across the board in a way that actually allowed me to win the game. So you have a game here that has three different victory conditions, and one of those victory conditions is perfectly designed to prevent the game from dragging on, and that's something that's fantastic in any abstract strategy game, and it's something that I definitely want to compliment the designers of this game for. Now, additionally, on top of that, the game is very simple and easy to teach. I mean, anybody can make the four patterns of 5 X's apiece. It's basically up, down, left, and right, or you make an X or a plus sign. Those are very easy to make, and each one of them requires 5 X's to do so. And of course, you can use the wild cards to create those or not. You may want to, or you may not want to, but it's going to affect your score if you're starting to rely on these wild cards too much. And plus, I like the fact that you can actually steal victory points from other players if they're not paying attention and playing defensively and offensively. You can go on there and take their squares away from them. And again, that's not going to cause the game to drag out by taking away their victory points, because you only have so many victory point tiles in the game. And again, remember, when the last victory point tile enters the board, or the last square enters the board, the game's going to come to an end. So these are all very fantastic design decisions that go into making a very well designed abstract strategy game. Now, I've never seen an abstract strategy game from Cryptozoic Entertainment, so I was pleasantly surprised when I got to play this one. I think they did a fantastic job on the design of the game. It's a very quick and easy game to learn. There's only 2 exceptions to the rules. As a matter of fact, the entire rules pretty much only take up 4 pages. I mean, this rule book looks thicker than it really is because it's in multiple languages, but the game's in 4 pages, and one of those pages is all diagrams. Easy game to learn, easy game to teach, enjoyable for multiple age ranges. You can have fun with this game all the way from 8 all the way up to 80, so to speak. Heck, you can have fun from ages 8 to 100, but if I live to be a 100-year-old gamer, I'll be a happy person in the long run anyways. I think this is a fantastic game. I can definitely recommend this game to anybody who enjoys abstract strategy games. The components for the game are really fantastic too. Let's not forget the fact that there's an insert built in the game, which you just aren't seeing that much anymore these days. It's a nice insert, holds all the pieces completely in there very, very nicely. And the fact that the board is a very solid, hard piece of plastic, very solid, very nice quality. So you can't ignore the quality of the components that come with the game either. It doesn't hurt the game that it plays from 2 to 4 players, and you can also play with teams, which is also very awesome, especially whenever you have times where you have players who aren't as good as other players in abstract strategy games. You can have a very good player teamed up with somebody who isn't quite as good to kind of help balance out the team, so that's always a plus. Add to the fact that the game does come with more pieces, allow you to add different variety of the game, and trust me, adding more than just 5 of these wildcard pieces does make a huge difference on the gameplay, especially if you go crazy enough to add all 8 of them. It can make some very crazy and very cutthroat and very quick ending games if you decide to play with all 8 of these wildcard pieces. I hope you enjoyed this video review for Mod X from Cryptozoic Entertainment. If you have any comments or questions, make sure you leave them in the YouTube comments down below. I'll be sure to answer them as quickly as I can. If you enjoyed this video series and you want to see more like it, click that like button, click that subscribe button, and as always, thanks for watching.